and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Today we're going to take a look at a interesting combination of Explore and green-white tokens. So this is a deck that Sam Black wrote about on Star City Games and played at a GP, a Grand Prix tournament in New Jersey, and also some of his teammates played it as well. I believe they had two top 32 finishes, but none in the top 8, so it may have slipped under the radar. I'm excited to give it a try for you today. It's mostly green, splashing a little bit of white to March of the Multitudes, play Tristani Discordant, and Conclave Tribunal. What you want to do early, of course, is get your Llanowar Elves and your mana flowing, hopefully a Wildgrowth Walker, and what you want to do late is use March of the Multitudes and Tristani with Path of Discovery and possibly with Wildgrowth Walker to explore a lot and gain a lot of life. You also have the Immortal Sun to shut down Planeswalkers and boost the power of your things. Memorial to Glory, interesting inclusion in the mana base that does actually help the deck a lot because it basically creates uncounterable creatures for Path of Discovery to go off with, as well as to be pumped by the Immortal Sun and Tristani. If I were to build a sideboard for the deck, I don't think you would want to change too many cards in the main deck, but maybe some one-ofs you could fit in, like the next cards up, so to speak. Adanto Vanguard is really good in the current meta if you want to take a beatdown role. I just don't think this deck needs that, but if I had a sideboard, I'd probably add Adanto Vanguard for the games where you have to be the beatdown and win quickly. Getting a Baffling End for a little bit more removal might not be a terrible idea. I think I would like it more than a Settle the Wreckage, as this deck goes plenty wide and can fight down hordes of opposing creatures. Usually you want to remove specific cards that are giving you problems, like a Runaway Steamkin. Knight of Autumn could see putting one or two in the deck for some flexibility. And a Johnny actually has some good cards to get back with Wildgrowth Walker and Branchwalker to more mimic a Golgari type playstyle. So getting an Ajani or two in the deck, I wouldn't hate that idea either. And Vivian Reed to keep creatures flowing, as well as take out troublesome flyers and enchantments. But if you go the Vivian Reed and Ajani route, make sure that you aren't playing too many copies of the Immortal Sun, as it shuts down your own Planeswalkers as well. All right, I'm excited to play the deck and see how it does, and I'll see you in the games. This hand is not doing anything. We don't have the white mana. We can't for sure cast our Jadelight Ranger. It has to go. This hand will for sure do something. It will play a Jadelight Ranger. From there, hopefully a Tribunal and Discordant. On the play, it might be a very slow hand, but we will try it. And I do not need another Tristani at this time. Johnny's welcome. Oh my, what kind of game are we about to get into? You can just feel something disgusting beginning to happen. Oh my. Oh my. It's a card some of you might try to fit into this deck. Some of you maniacs out there who absolutely love cards like a Johnny's Pridemate. 2 lands. We're going to need a Wildgrowth Walker. Look at him go. So there's no point in chump blocking, even if we want to chump block right now, because the Pridemate's going to get bigger and bigger. We'd rather chump block at a time when we can do more. Now, I could play the Path of Discovery, or I could play and then have the Discordant for next turn and save the Tribunals. I don't know how much time my opponent's really going to give me, but I'll probably chump with Jadelight, then play this off the Path. We need the Path to survive. That might be asking a lot, but we're going to give it a shot. If you're not willing to tap out for Path and say, I hope this works, don't play this deck. Oh my god. Alright, here's your chump block. I could also play Tristani And what am I taking? I would take too much damage if I played Tristani and Tribunal next turn. Yep, 1 block. And we do survive. Here we go. Library. And now we've got some blockers ready. But the Night Power is real. This deck actually doesn't run History of Benalia, which is interesting. Divine Visitation. Well, that's something. All right, well, we have a free block here. We have a block over here that gains 3 life, and we have a chump block here, but I think we'll take out the Knights. I think that's the move. The Knights are all going to shrink next turn, actually. Let's think about this. No, they're not. They're going to be bumped again. We do need to kill the Knights if we can. Now, we could block something like this, which that sort of lets us lifelink off, but we're still taking 7 over here from the Pride Mate. So, yeah, let's trade off. Okay, off the top, we need to make sure that creatures keep coming, so that's what I'm exploring for. Library, awesome. All right, now we'll play this and we'll play our Conclave Tribunal. And I think the right play is to take the Visitation, because the Visitation making angels is a lot more dangerous than the Pride Mate, which we can outgrow with our Wildgrowth Walker. So, Visitation, you're coming with me before something terrible happens. Thorn Lieutenant, interesting. Continues to grow the Pride Mate, but Pride Mate's days are numbered. We'll take care of it likely next turn. We'll continue to pick off the Knights. I'll have to take 8. However, I know I can get it back. Jadelight Ranger, double exploring. We do need more creatures, but do I need this creature? With 3 explore triggers, I think I can do better. Yeah, that can stay. And now I don't really plan to block with this Discordant, so I can tap that instead of paying 2 life. And we'll go after the big old Pride Mate, even as we're outgrowing it. Maybe I didn't have to do that, it is possible. And let's start the beatings. Our opponent can pump the Thorn Lieutenant to a 6/7, but I can gain that life right back. So I'm not very concerned about that attack. And no blocks, please. Well, I definitely would like to play you. So we'll start there. If we hit a land, we can also use Arch of Orazca to draw. No problems hitting land there. We could play Memorial to Glory and then make creatures next turn. Is that better than drawing an extra card with the Arch? I think drawing a card with Arch is good here, but I'm never one to turn down card draw. All right, so we're at 19. We're gaining a ton of life a turn. I still don't plan to block you. Let's send in the beats. Let's put the pressure to the opponent now. Down to 2. Okay. So, green-white life gain divine visitation tokens. And there is a migration. You can imagine if the opponent had made a bunch of angels just now, how poor that would be for us. It's good enough to stall the game a little longer as well. All right, no attacks, so I'll draw. No creatures to play. By my own doing, I might add, because of Memorial. But let's draw again. Maybe we'll draw a creature to play. So lucky. And it is a creature, but again, not the kind I need right now. What I want is Second Sun, March of the Multitudes type shenanigans. Let's send some beatings your way. Our opponent could have a Flourish to try to do a ton of damage to us. They are at 6, so I should only attack with threats that could be lethal so that I still have blockers on the way back if they do have a Flourish. A pair of chump blocks, and the game continues. There is a Hazard Marshal. And there is a Resplendent Angel. So a few threats. Let's start with Memorial to Glory, I think. Well, it's more Explorer triggers, and they're at instant speed, so I don't have to do that now. We'll play second Memorial. Continue the attack with the lethal threats, make the opponent keep chump blocking to stay alive. But the Resplendent Angel coming over with lifelink and making tokens is a little scary. But we should be able to keep up with life gain of our own. And I still think that in the long run we'll find the answers. Because this deck's endgame, when it's making creatures every turn, and when it plays March of the Multitudes, and the, I keep on wanting to say Azcanta, but the Immortal Sun, then that is a pretty sweet endgame. Here comes Resplendent Angel. Resplendent Angel will deal damage, lifelink, make an angel. Like the great goal of every Resplendent Angel player. And let's go ahead and make some dorks. Explore it up. Library. Okay, we can play this off Convoke. So we can also draw a card with this Kanta or make more creatures with Memorial. Well, the opponent doesn't want to face it anymore. Can't really blame them. If they don't have a way to remove the Path of Discovery or the Wildgrowth Walker, the life gain is never going to stop. Our hand does not have a Wildgrowth Walker, and it doesn't have a payoff like a Tristani, but the idea is that the Explorer creatures will let you see so much of your deck, along with Path of Discovery, that you will find those things. Having a Llanowar Elf would be so nice too, but I'll have to give it a try. There is a chance we get run over by a very aggressive opponent who can smash right through our Branchwalker and our Jadelight Ranger. It is a risk we take. Here we go. Red deck. And a Wildgrowth Walker is a very nice draw. Can we buy enough time to play the Path of Discovery and the Wildgrowth Walker? We were able to in a past game against a red deck, but can we this time? The opponent's got a great start, and if we don't put up resistance, nothing good will happen. Llanowar Elf. Okay. We can play this If our opponent doesn't kill it, we have Wildgrowth and Branchwalker next turn. If they do kill it, we can play the Jadelight Ranger, and it slows them down in theory a little bit. Hopefully they don't have Goblin Chainwhirler, because that would be the best way to kill it without even slowing down. Okay, a shock. And another Pyro. This is going to be painful. Hopefully, yeah, we're going to go to 11. I don't think the opponent can kill us through the Jadelight Ranger this turn. And hopefully that means we can untap, play Wildgrowth Walker and Branchwalker. Drawing 2 lands, though, was brutal just there. We did need more toughness. Now the Firebrand can trade with it, and our opponent can hold up Lightning Strike if they wish, which is nasty. Here's a Lava Runner. Maybe they don't have a Lightning Strike. Well, we'll have to find out. It's all going to come down to that last card being a bolt that they can play or something else. The Flame of Keld. Okay, we have a chance. Flame of Keld is very nasty, but Wildgrowth Walker will gain some life and be a 4 toughness creature. And now we have a Jadelight Ranger to back it up, but man, have we hit too many lands off these Explore triggers. It's been pretty nasty. We need a bit more toughness to battle the red deck. 1 toughness is very weak to cards like Fanatical Firebrand, Shock, Goblin Chainwhirler. Still, if we can untap and this Walker is alive, there'll be a chance. The opponent in the tank on their 2 cards. They have a Wizard's Lightning and they go to the face. They're not saving it. They're not saving it for next turn when they would have a Flame of Keld trigger to do additional damage. What does that mean? They think they have lethal right now? But they don't attack. I'm not sure what's happening. Let's go for it. If this happens, it's going to be hard to lose. And the Explore triggers are on the stack with a Wildgrowth Walker on the battlefield. I'll keep another Wildgrowth Walker. We can play it with Path of Discovery next turn. If that doesn't drive a red mage to concede, I don't know what will. Alright, the extra damage turn is coming up from Flame of Keld. We could Tribune it, but I hate that idea. I would rather save this for either the next Flame of Keld or for Experimental Frenzy. I think that the right play here is to play a tapped land and say go. I'll also move this over here because the opponent doesn't know about it. And I'm not attacking. Here goes the Flame of Keld. This is the turn where it hurts the most. Every red source gets a +2 damage buff, and the creatures are attacking. I'll line up my creatures in front of their creatures, and we'll see what happens. Even if the Wildgrowth Walker dies here, Path of Discovery with another Wildgrowth Walker will be a good recovery, especially with Memorial to Glory ready to go with the Path of Discovery and the Wildgrowth Walker. Yep, the Lightning Strike couldn't hit our face. It had to hit the Wildgrowth Walker. What's your last card? If they don't play it here, it's a land. Because right now it can deal additional damage. And that window is going to pass. So if you're sitting there on a land trying to psych me out, it won't work. As if they heard me. Here's our Path to Discovery. Here's a land. Here's our Wildgrowth Walker. And I'll keep that on top. The tag team, Jadelight Ranger and Wildgrowth Walker, still together. The red deck will pack it in. I think I like this hand. The Branchwalker will hopefully help us hit our land drops. Having a 5 and a 6 in your opener isn't ideal, but a Wildgrowth Walker and a Branchwalker on the play can probably hold off whatever the opponent wants to do, while also being assertive enough against a control deck to keep them busy. How many red mages will we play today? No attack. Well, we drew another Wildgrowth Walker. I think that means I can play one. The opponent may be able to kill it, but hopefully that helps us buy time to the second one. And I'm just waiting for the lightning strike. Found it. Would you like to attack this time? No, the Firebrand does not wish to attack. Probably playing around Jadelight Ranger or some shenanigans of that nature. I think I will make them have another. I would love to wait to 4 mana and an Explorer creature and a Wildgrowth Walker, but our hand isn't setting up that way. I really do need to hit my land drops. And besides, let's make them have another Lightning Strike or Shock. Sometimes that's just as good. Tristani making life linkers. Like, Wildgrowth isn't our only way to gain life. Tristani and March of the Multitudes make life linkers, so if we stall long enough, we can gain more life. Opponents now missed at least 2 damage with Firebrand. Will they miss a third? Interesting. I suppose this is why? You'd like to kill this now so it doesn't become a 3-2? Still, you missed basically a free lightning bolt. And if I hit a land here, could have done that anytime. Well, I've got to graveyard it because I really need to draw land, which is too bad. Immortal Sun not pulling its weight right this minute. Untapped land, please. Not a Memorial to Genius for the maximum tilt. Alright. Firebrand, Runaway Steamkin, get you Lava Runner. Firebrand will almost certainly kill this Jadelight Ranger as well. I think this player likes red control is the impression I'm getting. It's an interesting card. But is it the card I need to draw? I suppose it could be. But though really what I need is another land. So I can go Tristani into the Immortal Sun. Awkward, but I think that's what I gotta do. If I'm gonna win the game, I need to play Tristani and Immortal Sun. These cards in my hand have to do something. This is gonna sting. The opponent's still not willing to go face with their burn spells that I bet they're still sitting on. Okay. Now they're thinking about where to point their lightning strikes and such. Although, at this point it's got to be some shock, right? Did they have all 4 lightning strikes? They could. I mean, there is Wizard's Lightning. They get to play 8 lightning bolt-ish type cards. It's a lot of thinking. Yep. The opponent's thinking again. I mean, I don't think there's that much to stop you from attacking with both. And correct. I'm going to take the damage and hope that the Immortal Sun can pump these into bigger creatures. As if I trade them away now, it's not like I gained anything. Untapped land. That is really nasty. But let's try this Jadelight Ranger. Our opponent definitely appears to have a land in their hand. So I want this to be a 4/3. It needs to be to block this. So I'm going to keep this on the library. And then I'm going to graveyard it. Because I don't actually want to draw it, but I want to make sure that the Jadelight Ranger becomes a 4/3. If they're not going to block, should they attack? Should I gain the life? If my opponent draws a way to remove this, I go to 2, but then I have Immortal Sun, but then I'm dead to a burn spell. So I think I attack with 1, and if the opponent kills the Jadelight Ranger, the other can block the Steamkin as a chump. But that way at least I gain a life. Close game. We can expect some time on this one, but our opponent's, at least one of their cards is a land. That I am certain of. Anything else would have been played. If you can think of all the cards they might run in their deck, they wouldn't hold it. They would play out a creature. They would play any kind of Lightning Strike or Burn spell before the Jadelight Ranger explored, so probably. So there's at least a decent amount of posturing, but we are playing against a careful player, which, reasonable. It's a tough game. A very close game. Pyromancer was their draw. But will there be an attack? No, there will not be. And that is definitely time for the Immortal Sun. We could also tap out for a Conclave Tribunal, but I don't like that. And I'll pass the turn. We've got to get through this turn. If we get through this turn, I think we'll be in great shape. But having the 2-power lifelinkers so a Chain Whirler can't take them out is very important. Getting the extra draws going is very important. Next turn, likely a Conclave Tribunal taking away the Steamkin opens up attacking lanes for the lifelinking soldiers. Curious what our opponent drew this time. A second Pyromancer off the top. Down to 3. I'm still convinced their last card is not a card. It is a land. And they won't fool me. Alright. Let's go ahead and cast a Conclave Tribunal. Oops. I tapped 1 mana too many, because I often forget that the Immortal Sun reduces casting cost by 1. But I think it's as good a time as any to take some cards off the board. Although holding the last Tribunal isn't the worst idea. Alright, let's move to combat. Let's send the lifelinkers. Let's make sure we gain some life. The opponent should trade away on them, but they don't. Okay. Well, then they're setting up some kind of attack, so now I will play it. Gotta make sure that we live. The opponent could have drawn a lightning strike if we had left their 3 creatures on defense. Or their 3 creatures on offense versus my 1 on defense. A lightning strike or wizard's lightning would have won the game. Well, the flood has become very real. We are going to continue to attack with our lifelinkers. The more life you gain, the further we get away from the potential to burn us out. Our opponent will now take the blocks with the pyros. We'll play a land. We will say go with Memorial to Glory's activation available to make blockers. Dismissive Pyromancer. Discard a card to draw a card, or for 3 mana, sacrifice it to do 4 damage to target creature. So this is kind of an odd little, what would you call it, a quality of life card hidden in a red burn deck. All right, I don't need my tokens right now. I could start making a push to win the game, but if I have so much life gain in my deck and so many cards that put the game away, I think drawing more cards is the quickest way to end this. There we go. All right, let's launch Tristani. And now we'll also have the mana available to use Memorial to Glory. So we'll pump our creatures. We'll make 3/3 lifelink tokens, which I think is a good enough reason to attack with Jadelight Ranger and continue to put on some pressure. Just a reminder that the Immortal Sun is legendary. Playing a second one, if any of you are wondering why I don't play a second one, would simply require me to sacrifice one of them. It would be throwing it away. All right, a land has been discarded. A new card has been drawn with the Pyromancer. Sitting on end step here. It might just be because they put a stop in my end step, or they drew a lightning strike of some kind. And here is a wizard's lightning, taking out one of the lifelinking creatures. You've got to be impressed by the fight. Our opponent playing the red deck to the max. Let's, on their end step, use Memorial to Glory to make some more creatures. Extra draw from Immortal Sun. First draw, Merfolk Branchwalker. Second draw, another Tristani. So we can attack with Tristani and then make a new Tristani. But this is likely a lethal attack. Let's go see what happens. The opponent does have some play. Dismissive Pyromancer can block the Jadelight Ranger, sacrifice, and target another creature. Then the opponent takes 8 instead of 9. And it looks like that might be where this is going. It can also take out the lifelinker, which prevents life gain. Rummaging instead. So the rummage has to hit something to kill a lifelinker. And it appears they found it with yet another lightning strike. Our opponent reduced to just 1 life. Let's play a new Tristani because it will make more lifelinking tokens. I'll keep the untapped card in case our opponent draws a haste creature, although we also have tokens as well. We'll play a Merfolk Branchwalker. Have a look at our top card. Wildgrowth Walker seems like a good way to end the game. I'll also add a Llanowar Elf to the mix. And now we'll pass the turn with an army. Our opponent with 4 lands, 1 life, 2 cards. You can't Banefire somebody at 11 with that. And this game is over. If you know me from Twitch, or if you've just watched my videos a lot, you know that decks that beat red decks are near and dear to my heart. This one certainly did the job today. I hope you'll take it out and play it on ladder. I hope you enjoy it. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.